Hello, this is Christy. In this video, I'm going to show you a little trick I use in my video editing when I want to increase engagement for my videos, or when I have a longer video that has maybe a few sections or a few bullet points, or it's longer, and then I don't want the viewer to kind of become bored, and to help them pass the time, as it were, so that they know what's happening in the video and how long until the next point and all that stuff. So that is progress indicators for the sections in the video. So I want to show you how I create those in my projects so that the viewer has an idea of roughly how long it is until the next section of the video. So if you have a tutorial where you say, hello, today I'm going to show you 5 tips with some kind of an application like Excel or something like that, then there are 5 tips in the video, and the viewer can see that maybe the video is about 15 minutes long or 5 minutes long, or, it depends. Then they kind of know how long they're going to be stuck to the screen there watching this thing. But it really helps if they also can see kind of how long it takes from one point to another. So this is what I'm going to show you today. So I have a project here from my friend Chris Menard again. He's doing a lot of Office training videos, Excel, Word, PowerPoint, all that stuff. And sometimes he has some videos where he's giving tips like that. So I have a project here that he is giving 5 tips in Excel. So I have them here just to save time. I marked them here with markers on the Camtasia timeline. So you can add a marker using this plus sign here on this toolbar at the top of the timeline. If you don't see this word marker here, you may see quiz by default. Switch this to marker, and then you can add markers to your timeline. I just switched it off, by the way. So you can activate this toolbar here, select markers, and then you can add markers throughout your projects. So you can see now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tips, and then there's the closing, and I've got an introduction. So in this video, I want to show how the time passes in these sections, in these tips, how long until the next tip. And usually if you do this, and this is one of the reasons why YouTube introduced chapter markers, because they help with engagement, they help the people kind of jump around to the section they're interested in, and also it helps to kind of have an idea sort of how long is this chapter, how long to the next one, and how to achieve this. And I usually want to do it in a discrete way. We don't want to be showing this massive big time indicator, and you also need to take into consideration other things that might be on the screen at the time. So if you have like subtitles, for example, you don't want to put this project indicator at the bottom, because you have the subtitles, nobody's going to see it properly, or it's going to be in the way of something like lower thirds or tips and on-screen text you want to add. So you want to make sure that these indicators don't actually get in the way. So one preferred place that I like to put them is in the top right corner. Usually there's not much happening in that corner. In the bottom right, you may have the speaker, or if you're doing YouTube videos, you may have the logo of your channel with the subscribe button in that corner. So you don't want to be covering that corner. Plus, the lower part might be, as I said, where you have your subtitles. So I kind of like the top right for this. So this is what we're going to do. So you notice I have again 5 tips, 5 sections, and I want to show an indicator of the progress between these sections with a circle indicator, for example. You can do it in more graphical ways, different ways. I may do another video showing you a different way to do this with a single piece of annotation, maybe, instead of the multiple ones that I'm going to use in this video. But let's get on to it. So I want to create this indicator. So this is the video. I'm just, kind of scrolling through it. Section 1, Section 2, Section 3. So you can see that Chris is kind of showing stuff on the screen. Not much happening in the top right. So as I said, that's where we will build this. But before I build it and I move it to the top right, I'm going to actually build it in the center. Okay, so very easy. What I'm going to do is I'm going to place the playhead in between these two, tip 2 and 3. This is not crucially important, but it helps if you build this first in the shortest interval, because then we will have some operation to do to expand it for the rest of them. So let's just build tip number 2. it's going to be, you know, we can build number one. It doesn't matter which one we build first anyway. But look right here. So I'm going to go to annotations and just very easy, go to the shapes on the top here and just make sure you enable style all and choose this circle. Place it in the middle of your canvas. Align it to the center of the screen. This is quite important because I'll explain later a little bit of a gotcha with this and you're going to be aware of. So place this circle in the middle of the screen. If it helps you edit better, just you know, zoom in with your mouse wheel and again, think about what color you want to have on it. So let's suppose I want to have it green because this is an Excel tutorial. Okay, so this is going to be the circle that has the number on it. So what I want to do is I want to add a text on top of it. So I'm going to do to annotations and go to the main one and just grab one of these text annotations. Doesn't really matter which one. I'm just going to grab this one, for example, place it in here, and that's going to be my number indicator. You can go to the font and just change the font here. I'm gonna actually change the font. I'm not crazy about this font. Just use basic Arial, and just double click inside of that and type a number. Let's type number 2 because this is the one we're doing now, number 2. It doesn't really have to be done in order. This is just an example. So I'm gonna select the number 2. I'm gonna make it bold. And one thing to make sure is make sure that this is aligned to the center, right? So use the center alignment, and then when you select it on the timeline like this, you have the edges here. And if you don't see that, I may have to switch off the screen for a second. Okay, here we go. So you can see that this whole annotation kind of goes out of it. So what I want to do is I want to bring that in so that it aligns with the edges of this circle. That means that there's no chance of my text ever leaving that round space in there. Even if I make it larger, look, I make it larger. Now, okay, if I make it very large, of course, I'm going to exaggerate here and it's going to do that. But, you know, just keep it at a reasonable size just to make sure it's visible. And then bring in this box to align with the circle, just to make sure everything is inside that box. And because the alignment of the text is center, your number is going to be pretty much in the center of that circle. Now, let me bring back the screen because this is on top of the screen now. And we need to do another thing. We need to create another one of these and make it larger and put it behind both of them. So if I zoom in on my timeline here, I'm just going to select both of them, move them up one, and then you can actually create a second one. Click on the green circle, Control C, Control V to paste. And with that circle selected, I can maybe give it a border if you want to see the border thickness like that. And I'm going to give it a color of red, perhaps. Okay, just so it's very visible. So that's actually going to be my indicator of the indicator of the progress, right? So how can we achieve that? Well, you notice here I have these 3 elements, and we'll get to them in a second because I want to actually group them and make them an asset that I can move around and change the number. That's what I want to do. So select all 3 of them and just expand their duration until the next tip. So right now, look down here. I have these 3 selected, moving back to the beginning of tip 2, right here, marker for tip 2. And this is where tip 2 ends and tip 3 starts. So this is the kind of duration I'm playing with now. Deselect them, but on the red one, so this is the thing. On the red one that I just created, which is behind the other ones. By the way, if you don't want to put it behind necessarily, you can actually take the fill off and just leave it on the top. That also works. So if you want to put it on top of the number 2 or whatever, you can just take the opacity from the fill to 0, and then you still have the number, you still have the border, you still have the red border, but you know, you can have it at the top if you want or at the bottom. So if I make some room in here and I move this one to the top, it's kind of thicker, so you can actually make the border less thick like this. So now it doesn't matter if it's at the top or at the bottom. It's just going to be covered partially by the the one with the numbers. Whichever way you like it. I like to keep it at the bottom and then make it thicker like this, because then it allows me to double click on the number and change it easier. But again, I'm going to show you one way you don't even have to go in there at all. You can change the number very comfortably. And by the way, this component we're building, this asset, you can reuse it in your other projects, because we will add it to the library, just like we like to do with reusable stuff. So here we go. This is the overall thing. So now for the effect, okay, what we want to do is we want to show the progress from the start to the end of this tip, this section of my video. So what I want to do is I want to go to transitions, go to the group at the top, drop down there at the top, use that drop down to go to wipes. And what we want to look for is something called radial wipe. So it should be around here somewhere. And if it's not in this wipe section, it's probably in the radial. There you go. So on the drop down for transitions, go to radial and then look for radial wipe. There it is right here. I actually have it in my favorites. I don't know why I didn't go there. But anyway, if you don't have it in your favorites, it's right here, radial wipe. And we will apply this transition to the object with the border. I made that larger right there, so just drag that on top of that shape. Now this transition, what it does is does this. Look, if I play it now, you can see the circle going full circle. But obviously I'm not happy with that, because my section has just started. I need that radial thing to last all the way up to here. And what I want to do is just expand the duration of this transition all the way here, like that. So now for the entire duration of my section, this transition is going to run. So if you watch this, you can see that the progress bar moves, the circle becomes full circle by the end of this section. So if I drag this to see the whole thing, by this time I'm approaching the marker and the progress bar is done, right? So this is the principle for everything. So here's the nice cool one. What I want to do now is I want to obviously replicate this for all the sections in my project. So that's why we do this. We select everything, these three objects, and group them like that. Control G to group. So now I have one group that has group 1. You can double click on it to go inside, and you can double click the header of the group to call it 2. Right? So that's number 2. If we close this, we can see 2 right here. So now I can actually make copies of this. So I'm going to zoom out. And this is the reason I said it's advisable to create this on the shortest interval, because look at this. If I go Control C and I go to the start of the first tip, Control V, paste it right here. The only thing you have to do now is expand the group to fill your interval, open the group, and then expand this transition to the end right there. So now you have changed the transition to last longer for this section you're on. Double click the header here and call it 1 and close it. But of course, the number that I have on it is 2. So that's not correct. So instead of actually having to go inside of that group and changing the number that you see on the screen, here's another thing. On the right side here, you see these properties. You may have seen these before. They are called quick properties. In Camtasia 2021, you have the properties available here that are inside of a group. You have them all available here to change. You can even change the background of the number. You can change the font right here, and you can change the number. So obviously this one is number 1. So I'm just going to select this and call it number 1, enter. So there you go. So now my progress indicator is going around just like this. To take this a step further though, before I make the other copies, what I want to do is I want to make this kind of stand out from the background. So if I have sort of a moving background or some very much activity in the background, I want these to kind of stand out. So what you can do is actually you go to the visual effects. On the left there, you visual effects, and you can add a drop shadow to it. But you add the drop shadow to the group itself. You know, just there you go. So drop shadow, and now the things stay. So you can actually change the placement of the drop shadow. I like to put it in the middle, and I like to make it sort of darker and maybe make it more blurry, whatever, you know, your choice. And then just apply it to this one as well. Drop shadow down there. So number 2. So you can see there's a bit of a, you know, it just stands up off the page. So now let me do number 3. I'm going to Control C to copy this and paste it. But before I do that, I just actually want to do another thing. I want to zoom out and move this thing to where it needs to be. So where I want to have it is on the top right corner of the screen. So if I zoom in here and I move this one there to the top right and go to the number 1, because I want to have them moved in place before I actually change anymore. I want the transition to happen very smoothly and have them not sort of jump around, change size or placement from one point to another. I don't want to be that distracting. So there you go. Number 2 is in the corner, and now let's do number 3. So very quickly, just Control C on this one, zoom in if you need to, and go to the start of your marker. Markers are very nice and they snap to the playhead. So if you're finding it hard to kind of match the location, you can go to the view menu and you can go to timeline snapping and enable playhead snapping and markers. So the media edges as well, you can turn that on. I always have these on all the time, and it helps to kind of snap into place at exact locations when you need it to. So right now I'm placing at the start of the tip number 3. Control V to paste this. Camtasia places that on the next available track. Zoom out if you have to and select it. And then first thing, let's change the number 3 in here. Boom, very easy. And then expand the group to fit the whole thing, and then go inside, open the group with the plus sign, and expand this transition. This is one thing you can't change from the outside, and you have to go in there and double click on the header of the group to say 3. There we go. So now we've got 2 in the corner, and let me play this segment right here. So you can see 2 finishing, and then 3 starts again exactly at the right time. So then let's do another one. Control C on the second one again. Go in here and place your playhead in here, paste. This is number 4. So obviously double click in here, number 4, and then expand the group. Very easy procedure. And you know, if you don't have a lot of bullet points, a lot of sections, this can be done in like a minute. Once you learn how to do it, double click on this one. It's not really required to rename the groups, but I do like to stay organized and rename the groups so that I know what group I'm looking at. Finally, let's do number 5. So come in here and paste. And okay, let's see where number 5 ends. It seems I have something on this track here, so I can probably move this up on its own track and just push this all the way down there. And now number 5. So there was 4 and now it's 5. And of course, go inside and don't forget to expand your transition to the very end. So the radial wipe takes as long as the section. So there we go. This is it. You know, I've got 4 little groups in here. Let me just double click on this one and rename it. Number 5. And then there you go, 5 sections. And now if I play my video, I'm just going to actually scroll quickly through it. This is the introduction. There is no indicator on this one. Then tip number 1 starts, and look at the progress bar. It just goes there. Number 2. Number 3, if you're watching the marker, it just exactly matches the location of the marker. Number 4, and finally number 5. So while you're watching this video, you can see now how long you need to wait until the next tip or whatever. If you got the idea like in the video, if you understood everything, so you don't want to watch anymore, you can scroll forward. And this also helps you in YouTube. Like if you go to these points, you can tell where the next chapter marker should be placed in your video. So you can also get that from your markers, by the way. So this was it. So now let me give you one final tip. This is actually, there's a bug in Camtasia where if you try and reuse these in your projects, so let me just give you an example. I'm going to save this project because I'm done with it, but let me show you. You want to save this to your library to reuse it in other projects. You don't want to be building it again every time. So I'm just going to take the shortest one again, number 2, Control C, and I'm going to do something on this side here. I'm just going to place it on a blank space in my timeline. Okay, so look what happens here. This is the indicator. It works nice. And let's suppose that I'm happy with this. So I want to add this to the library. So what I can do is right click, add to library. So I'm going to call it progress indicator circular, just some random name. I have it in my, just doesn't matter which library that is. I'm just going to place it in my Graphicious library right here, using the canvas size as the indicator for the boundaries. So click OK. There you go. So I have it in my library. You can actually see I have another one done from before. But this is one problem. Look at this. Let's suppose now I delete this from my timeline, and let's suppose this is a new project, and now I want to bring this progress indicator and use it. Bring it in down here, drag it on the line, and look what happens. You see, the progress bar doesn't work anymore the way it used to be. The reason for this is this radial wipe starts off as relative to the center of the screen. So apparently that does not get transmitted or stored with your library assets. So apparently when you bring that in here, and I think it has something to do with the geometry of the groups. If someone at TechSmith is watching this, this is a bug I wanted to report, by the way. And I think the geometry of the groups, something is lost when you bring something out from the library. There's other bugs with it, but anyway. So the way to solve this is to actually ungroup these, move them to the center of your canvas. And can you see the radial? If you move it around, the radial wipe actually is right there in the middle of your screen. So what you want to do is place everything in the center and group it again. That's all you need to do. So then you can put it in the corner. And it's funny enough because now the geometry, as I said, the geometry of the group is maintained. So if I copy this and paste it again and maybe change the number to 5, whatever, it still works in that corner. The only time you lose that position of the wipe is when you restore something that is inside a group with that transition from your library. Very particular use case. But anyway, this is how to solve it. So just let me show you again with this other one that I built. It's not just the same like this one. So I'm just going to bring this other one in here, and it happens with all of them. So this is it. Look, it even loses the sort of the cropping. So all I have to do is just ungroup the whole thing and move it to the center. And there you go. The radial wipe is restored. Group it again, and then you can put it back. So this is one quirk you need to work around. So this is one tip I have for you. If you're using this progress indicator and you want to save it to your library, you have to go through those extra steps the first time you reuse it somewhere in a project. Then after that, you save it. When you export the video, it exports just fine in the corner. Everything works great. So, I hope this helps. What I also like to do, just to stay organized, I just select all of them. If I'm on my project here, and I actually move them to a track of their own like this. So rename the track, progress or whatever, and then, they stay there. I can turn them on and off if I want to, but there you go. So now, throughout this video, you're going to have an indicator of the progress for every section. So I hope this was useful. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoy my videos, feel free to like, to subscribe to my channel. And if you have any questions to do with Camtasia or video editing, feel free to leave them in the comments. I'm very eager to make videos from your actual questions. And also, if this is around April and Camtasia has launched a new version and you feel like you want to upgrade or, buy it, there's a link in the description that's an affiliate link. If you click that, you can get a discount, and also it would support my channel. to make more videos like this, and I would appreciate it. No extra cost to you for that. So thanks again for watching. Thanks for your time. I will see you on the next one.